Hey everyone, Agent Blue here, licensed senior cosmetologist, salon owner, and cosmetology educator. Thank you for tuning in to Best Look Uncovered TV. Today we're going to talk about why hair thins. What causes hair to thin? I have clients that come to me often and they say, my hair is thinning. Does my hair seem like it's thinning to you? What is going on? What could be causing this? There are a number of different variables that contribute to thinning hair, and we're gonna talk about some of those today. By the way, if you like this video, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. So what causes thinning hair? One of the factors that you want to consider if you are faced with thinning hair is improper detangling. Whether you're natural or relaxed, if you are improperly detangling your hair, you could be causing more damage than you realize. I can add a video about proper detangling later. If you guys want to see that, please let me know in the comments below and I will be sure to film a video for you showing the proper way to detangle. Please try to understand that you must be patient when it's time to detangle. When you're detangling your hair, you definitely want to make sure that you are being as gentle and as patient as you possibly can be. If you're detangling your hair on your own, you want to make sure that you have clips that help you separate and detangle sections at a time so that you don't feel overwhelmed. So you may want to begin detangling your hair with your fingers first before you go in with a styling tool. You want to make sure that your hair is wet, not dry, when you're detangling, or it has some sort of product to give you some sort of slip or moisture or leverage, because you are literally going in and pulling when you're detangling your hair. One factor could be that you may be manipulating your hair too much. If you are changing your styles often, or if you are doing a lot of combing, a lot of brushing, changing different hairstyles. One week you have a weave, the next week you have braids, and then another week you're getting a relaxer. You're just doing way too many things to your hair. You're not giving your hair a chance to strengthen before you begin to do all of this manipulating. You really want to make sure that you have a good balance where you put your hair on a regimen so that you know that you are not detangling too much, you are not changing your styles too much, you're not shampooing too much, you're not conditioning too much, you're just not doing too many things to your hair too often. Don't be a busybody with your hair. You want to give your hair a break. Don't put your hair through too much trauma where you are doing too many different things too often. If you're going to wear a protective style, make that protective style last you for 2 to 4 weeks, or depending on whatever that style is. If you're wearing a weave, you want to make sure that that weave lasts you 10 to 12 weeks. If you're wearing a protective style like braids, depending on the type of braids that you have, if you have cornrows, make sure that you leave those cornrows in for at least 2 weeks, depending on the style. I know for some of us, our hair gets frizzy in the braids. Sometimes you can refresh your hair by putting a little mousse or a little gel or a little edge control and tying it down at night. What is the point of doing a protective style if you're going to be taking your hair out too often? You don't want to do that. Another thing that you want to consider is neglect. I know some of us get really spoiled with wigs and weaves and our protective styles. However, there's a right and a wrong way to do things. And if you are wearing wigs, you don't want to wear a wig too often or too long without treating your hair and scalp in between. You will set yourself up in the long run. We do get spoiled because they are convenient, and I do feel like all women should have 1 or 2 wigs in their closet or in their stash for emergencies or for options. But you don't want to have to depend on them because you've neglected your hair in the process of wearing your wigs. You need to make sure that you put a wig cap on or some type of protection over your natural hair first before you put that wig on. The same thing for weaves. If you are a person that wears weaves often, that's great. However, there's a right and a wrong way to wear a weave. If your hair has not been trimmed, conditioned, if you need a protein treatment, if you have not treated your hair properly prior to having that weave installed, then what is the point of a protective style? It is up to the professional to make sure that they are giving you a service that, number one, is going to be beneficial for your hair in the long run, and then also two, they are making the health of your hair priority. And then when you take that weave out, if you can, give your hair a break. Take that weave out, wear your hair for a couple weeks, let some air get to it. Make sure that you do your scalp massages and your deep conditioning or your protein treatments if it's needed. Don't neglect your hair because you've found, your weave or your wigs have become convenient. Another thing that can cause thinning hair is stress. We want to make sure that we try to stay as stress-free as possible. If you've had a long day, meditate. Try to listen to some music. Have a glass of wine. Right? Anything that you can think of that will help calm your nerves and try to relax. I'll just listen to some music. Make sure that you're doing what you need to do to remain as stress-free as possible. And I'm going to tell you right now, no stress is worth losing your hair, okay? Losing your hair is stressful enough, right? Another factor to consider when thinking about what causes thinning hair is over-processing. When I became a newbie or a rookie in the industry, we used to do relaxers really often with no regard for health. It was all about the style, and those edges were laid, and we had crimps, and we did all kinds of things to our hair that we didn't realize we were really damaging our hair. But now people have become more health conscious, not with just their bodies, but also with their hair and their skin. Now we know that we can over process our hair with chemicals like relaxers and hair color. This is another process where you have to consider there is a right way and a wrong way to do things. If you are a person that likes relaxer, or if you are a person that likes hair color, those things are okay. It's not a bad thing, but you need to make sure that you are taking the proper precautions to hold on to your hair in the process. If you are someone who has hair that can't handle color, then you probably should stop coloring your hair. I know that it is difficult sometimes because I have had clients in the past that they are just stuck on what they used to do. But if you consider this, you know how back in the day you used to be able to eat certain things that you can't eat anymore, like pizza, for example. When you become an adult and you start to eat that same pizza that you were eating back when you were a kid, and now you just can't eat it like you used to. The same thing goes with our hair. There are a lot of things that we used to do with our hair back in the day that we just can't do anymore. Our hair just isn't strong enough to handle it, and that's okay. Figure out other ways to get that hair color in where you're not over processing your hair. Every now and then I come across a new client that is accustomed to getting relaxers every 8 weeks. Nah, boo, that's too soon. Nobody's hair grows that fast. You cannot get a relaxer in 8 weeks and think that you have enough new growth to lay that relaxer on without overlapping on hair that's already been relaxed. You are over processing your hair. There is an exception when you are a person who wears a short hairstyle. When you wear a short hairstyle or short cut, relax that hair every 2 weeks, every week. It doesn't matter because you're cutting the hair off anyway, but you want to make sure that that hair is laid and that short cut is nice and sharp. You want it to be able to lay properly. Then you have more leverage to go and relax your hair more often. But if you are someone who wants thicker hair and you have a little length to it, you cannot relax your hair too often and think that that hair is going to be thick and continue to thrive. It's just not going to happen. Another thing, this is a big one that needs to be considered when thinking about countering thinning hair, is tension. If you are someone that likes the weaves and the braids and even the buns and the top knots, you have to be careful when bringing those ponytails together or bringing those braids or those cornrows together. If you are pulling that hair too tight, it will come out. Some people like their edges snatched so tight. Listen, let me save you some heartache. You don't want to do that. Get you a good edge control. Protect your crown edge control is coming out really soon. Get you a good edge control where you don't feel like you have the need to pull your head or your edges so tight that you get a mini facelift until you take that bun down, because it definitely will cause thinning. You shouldn't be shampooing your hair too often. If you are shampooing your hair more than once a week, that is too often. Our sebaceous glands secretes oil and it's called sebum. We need that sebum to coat our hair shaft. You can't wear it down anymore because it's gotten too oily. Pull it up, pull it back. Get creative. Do a braid, do a French braid, do 2 French braids, pull it up in a top knot that's not too tight. Don't get in the habit of shampooing your hair too often, because you will be stripping it of its natural oils too soon. You need that protection. Even though it's annoying, you need it. Another thing that you want to consider, you want to make sure that you deep condition when needed. The need for deep conditioning is relative. You may not need to deep condition every time you shampoo. You may shampoo every 2 weeks. You may shampoo once every 3 weeks. You may shampoo once a week, but you may not need to deep condition every time you shampoo on each wash day. So let me just put it into perspective. So when you shampoo your hair, and remember you're shampooing your hair at least 3 times on wash day. Maybe you put that conditioner and you shampoo your hair in the shower, and you put that conditioner in, and then you bathe, and then you rinse that conditioner out. Your hair feels moisturized enough, and then you might back it up with a little leave-in conditioner. That might be sufficient for you. If you've gone throughout the week or 2 weeks and you feel like your hair is really dry and brittle, and it's the winter months and it's colder outside, you find yourself scratching your scalp too often throughout the week, you may need to deep condition. Or even if you see more excessive shedding in the comb or the brush or on the bathroom floor, it may be time to deep condition. But that doesn't mean you need to deep condition every time you shampoo. Pay attention to what your hair is telling you. If it feels dry, if it's shedding, try to deep condition to see if that helps the problem. Another big thing that is a factor when it comes to thinning hair could be medication. If you are someone who is on high blood pressure medication, or you take a steroid, that can affect the thinning of your hair. Look into symptoms of whatever medication you may need to take. I do know that a vitamin D deficiency can contribute to hair loss. I know that's something that I've dealt with over the years, and probably a lot of us at this point, because we've been in the house for almost a year, or we've been in more often for almost a year, a lot of us probably have issues with our vitamin D. You may want to pick up some vitamin D supplements, or a multivitamin that gives you all of the nutrients and supplements everything that you're not getting with your diet. And that takes me into another thing that you want to consider when thinning hair. If you are someone that does not get protein in your diet, that could be contributing to your hair thinning. Hair is made up of protein, and if you are not getting the protein in your diet that you need, it could be causing your hair to thin. If you add protein into your daily diet, you will begin to see a difference with your hair, your nails, and your skin. If you have been avoiding getting trimmed, my clients like, oh my gosh, my hair is shedding. I'm like, well, do you need a trim? If I haven't seen them. Now, when they come into the salon, of course, they don't even have to ask me before I'm letting them know, okay, look, you need a trim. But there are people who have had bad trimming experiences. Their trim was really a haircut, or they felt like the stylist at the time cut their hair too short. Most times they probably needed it anyway, but it probably wasn't explained to them properly why or how much needed to be trimmed or cut off. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. When you do not get trims, it will cause your hair to split up the hair shaft, causing your trim to turn into a now needed haircut. You will have more shedding, your curls won't last, your styles won't last, you'll end up putting more product in your hair than you need to or than you want to, and a lot of that could be because you're not getting trims when you need to get trims. And then the last thing I want to talk about is age. I don't want to talk about age, but we have to talk about age. You guys know as we get older, things change. Our skin, changes. We're not as supple, right? Some of us. Some of us are more blessed than others in that area. I know for the most part, a lot of us notice as we get older that our skin changes, the texture of our hair changes. Y'all, I was walking in Target yesterday, and all of a sudden my hip went out, y'all. I don't know what happened. I wasn't doing anything strenuous. I work out regularly, but this right hip, I don't know what happened. And I found myself limping, leaving Target. I don't know what happened, but Listen, it's inevitable. Our hair gets softer, the texture tends to change. Where we used to get relaxers every 8 weeks, which is a no-no, or every 12 weeks. So I have clients who now they can get relaxers once a year, or they don't get relaxers at all because their hair has softened to the point where it's more manageable and it's just not as coarse or as thick as it used to be when they were younger. It could be hereditary as well. If your mama is thin on the edges, you might get thin on the edges. I don't know. If you have thinning hair and you've been struggling with trying to figure out what is causing it or what you can do, please let me know down in the comments below. What have you done to try to counter it? Or have you done anything at all? Let me know your story down in the comments below, because I'm interested to know what some of your questions are. Don't stress out if your hair is shedding. Our hair is supposed to shed. Our skin sheds, our hair sheds. We're supposed to lose a few hundred strands of hair a day. So don't freak out. When your hair is shedding, you want to see those long strands of hair. You don't want to see short strands and then go into your hair and look and see that there are short pieces of hair throughout your head. That's when you want to be concerned. Maybe you need a protein treatment. Maybe you need a deep conditioning treatment. You don't want to freak out if you see long strands of hair. That is okay. We are supposed to shed. I hope this helps you. If you are dealing with thinning hair at all and you just weren't sure what could be causing it, why your hair is thinning. If you like this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe. And also don't forget to let me know what type of videos you'd like to see so that I can add them to my playlist. Thank you guys for watching.